So that's an SSD. So a friend of mine sent me this SSD along with a donor, which is right here. The problem with this SSD is that there's a media cache issue. So he spoke to ACE support, and unfortunately there's no way to fix it with software or with PC-3000. So the only way is to actually swap the NAND, which are these chips right here, the big chips, over to this donor without the controller. The controller is going to stay where it is. So we're going to use the second controller from the donor, and hopefully it will work. Not saying it's gonna work. There's a good chance it's not going to work, and it's because the swap might not fix the issue. There could be a problem with the NAND itself. That's why this SSD is not working. So this is a crucial 1 terabyte SSD. I'm gonna remove the memory chips. I'm gonna swap them over to this donor and see if it works. Like I said, might not work. It might work. Who knows? But it should be a simple job. It's just this normal BGA chips. Just gonna pop them off and move them over to the other drive. I won't be filming the removal. I've done it millions of times, so I'm just going to use the BGA machine that's behind me. And to prep the donor, I'm going to use the hot rework station, which that portion I'm going to film. And I'm going to reball them, slap them onto the drive, and see what happens. Might work, might not work. Who knows? I guess we're going to find out. Okay, so we got the SSD here. This is the donor. We're going to actually remove it using hot air. The reason for that is because I don't really care if the chips get damaged, because these are these chips are going to have to come off, so we can prepare the donor for the original, which is right here. So we're just going to use some heat. I'm not filming my face. There's no point filming my face for this video, and of course I dropped my tweezers. I didn't break them. Good. There's going to be some weird staticky noise. It's probably my beard hitting the microphone. I put it a little bit lower so it doesn't interfere with the sound, but you know how these things go. Sometimes these things happen. So I'm not marking these chips for a reason being is I don't really care what configuration they're in on the donor. What's gonna be important is that the chips are in the right order. When I remove the chips off this original drive, these chips have to go in the right order as they're here, otherwise it's not going to work. This is the original. You can see this is the original board here. So this board will be lifted using the BGA machine. I got to limit the amount of heat that I'm going to use on these chips. I mean, they're probably already bad for all we know, but in case they're not, we don't want to make them worse. The heat is the enemy of NAND because you start creating bit errors. Also, you may be wondering, why am I not swapping the controller? And the reason for that is, according to Ace Labs, you don't have to swap the controller. Usually, the same controller will be enough for SSD. And in this case, we can't take the controller. If we were to move the controller with the NAND to the original, we're pretty much back in the same position because now we have still the media cache issue. And this media cache issue I've seen on regular hard drives as well. So this is not like an thing. So this is not like a thing that's exclusive to SSDs. It's an actual issue with regular hard drives too. Okay, enough with the talking about this. So let's lift these chips here. Okay, I'm gonna use probably 390 should be good enough for this to lift these chips. Then prep the pads on the board. Obviously, we don't want to use too much heat. We don't want to destroy the board. But at the same time, we don't want to use too little heat because then we're gonna damage the pads on the board, and that's pretty much kills our donor. They're probably not cheap. It's a terabyte, so we don't want to be doing that. I probably should use the BGA machine for this. Come to think of it. I mean, I feel confident enough to lift these chips with hot air, but sometimes using hot air, the heat distribution might not be good enough. But I think I'll take my chances. Just trying to figure out if I should flip them off the board, or I'm definitely gonna have to come here with enough heat so this chip is not damaged. I'm probably not gonna talk as I'm removing them, so I'll just speed it up in post-production. Okay then, let's use enough airflow on this because it is a big chip. So let's get this done. Also, I mentioned this before in my videos, I do suffer from a serious condition in my wrists, where my wrists go numb, and I have neuropathy from autoimmune disease. So if you see me stopping, I'm not stopping because I'm bored, I'm stopping because my arms go numb and I have to stop. Ooh, that's a lot of smoke. So the first chip is off, and it took me a while. I don't want to rip these pads like I mentioned, so we are not going to rip these pads. Let me switch on the fume extractor before I end up with cancer, and then there'll be no more videos because I'll be dead. So chip 1 is off. Let's pop this sticker off. I'm using some crap flux. Yes, I know some of you will know that this is some really old flux. I don't really care about removing. I'm going to use my crappy fake flux. This is not even real flux. I don't have any flux left. I only have a tiny bit left. I forgot to order. This is the good stuff here, but I'm saving it for later. And what we're going to do is once we get the chips off, we're going to use low melt solder. I don't want to put too much heat to the chips when I'm flipping them. Sorry, when I'm moving them over. I also want to put enough flux on this chip. Okay then, let's get the second chip off. So as with the previous chip, we're gonna go again. I'm gonna go an extra few degrees up. Okay, let's let these guys heat it up here. Okay, the next chip is off. This guy on the side here. I got a nice lift. You can see the not a rip pad. Let's continue this trend. Let's not damage this donor. Let this thing cool off a little bit. You know, you can see on this SSD that you could put different chips on here, so I'm just glad that there's lines here, these lines right across here. So when we're going to be putting the chips back on here, at least we can see where the lines are, so that won't be too bad. Let's get some flux up in here. I'm probably putting way too much flux, but you know what? You probably should anyways. Realize I'm blocking the camera on this side. You know, they can't get a better angle on here. I don't have anywhere to put this camera. It's a heavy camera too. It's not as heavy as like a 5D Mark IV or something, but it's a 90D, so it's not exactly a light camera. The lens in the front is it's a big lens. It's also quite heavy. I'm not even going to show you how it's mounted on here next to me. It's actually kind of funny. Okay, so here we have some components we don't want to damage. We don't want to be fixing this later. I'm not in the mood to fixing parts. Let's see if this thing moves. Yeah, it moves. Okay, so we're gonna go from here, and it's gone. Okay, chip number 3 off. One more to go. Let's get it positioned here. Some more of the crappy flux, and the board is still pretty warm from the other chip I just removed. So I just get some. Oh yes, I gotta say this fake flux is not too bad. Not too bad at all. I mean, it's probably expired. There's not even a date on it. A real MTech, you know, I'll tell you more about flux. So if you're buying flux, a real MTech will have a date, and real MTech does not have this sticker. So this is probably like a 6 or 7 year old flux. I must have gotten this a long time ago. I've never used it because I realized it was fake after getting it. I prefer the real MTech, or this is Chip Quick is pretty good. This one here. Definitely decent flux, but I don't have much left of it. I might have to go to Sale Electronics. That might be a video. Speaking of videos, this is probably my second last video of the year. Like I said, I was gonna make a video every week this week. I was gonna make a video every week this year, and I stuck to it. But I mean, this year is coming to an end. This is gonna be December. Not sure what's gonna look like here. I mean, we're still gonna be busy. We have a lot of work. There's a lot of open cases right now. Here, I haven't even got to. They were pretty much sitting behind me. I'm trying to get them all done, but not exactly. Some are not exactly easy. So some I put aside for later when I have time. But I'll get to them. I mean, usually within a week they're solved. But it's just I can't get them done that quickly. It's not a next day thing. Years ago, we used to be 24 hours in cases would be solved, but now it's slipped to like a week. Okay, so let's get this last chip popped off. So this one here, the components on both sides there. Okay, we can do this. So when this chip comes off, I won't be filming the removal of the original NAND. I'm just gonna go over to the VGA. I don't have anywhere to put the camera there now. Right now, there's too much stuff laying around. So you should take my word for it. I'll take them off. I'm gonna tape. I might tape around the drive to get them removed. I have to mark them, so like I said, we're gonna have to mark them so we know which chip is supposed to go where. I could have used BGA on here, but the problem with BGA, unless you tape it up, it heats up the entire board, including the connector, because the heating element is so big that I don't want to risk damaging this donor. So that's why I'm using hot air in a localized area, just to get this chip off. Okay, this chip is wiggling. Just give it an extra second of heat. I'm gonna pull off any pads. They're done. That's it. Off camera, I'm gonna prep these pads, and I'm gonna get them all nice and clean with new flux and new solder. That's gonna be it for this portion of the video. And I hope this camera is recording sound. Okay, so let me get this one here done. Get the original off. Where's the focus point in this camera? Okay, let's get this one, get the chips off, get them marked, figure out where they're gonna go. We prep this board, and then I'll be back when we're gonna be reballing them and putting them back onto this board. So I got it mounted in my VGA workstation. So the way I mark my chips is controller right, controller left, and the other side just is left and right. That's why I know which one is which. I also scratch the chips tiny bit, 1, 2, and you flip it to 3, 4, in case this paint comes off. So I'm just removing the other side. One side's moving left, this is the other side. Filming my phone, I don't feel like moving the camera, but you can see it's moving right now. So once the chips come off, I'm gonna clean them, and I'm gonna start reballing. I'll film the reballing and the putting back on the drive portion. Okay, well, it's the next day. I I couldn't finish this yesterday because I got held up a bunch of different jobs, and unfortunately I had to put this aside. So while off camera, I prepared the donor so you can see that everything's nicely cleaned up. Let me see if I can go under the microscope here. See, everything's cleaned up, no pads are ripped. I have to clean up here this spot a little bit. The other side is also cleaned up. So how did I mark the chips? So chips are marked. You can see this. See also controller left. This is controller right, and the other side is left and in the right. But that's the best way I can mark them down, because then I know which way to go. So I know the connector was on top. Right here, it's on top. So this is controller left, controller right, and then you flip it over this way. So keeping the connector on top, and it's left and right. Pretty simple, straightforward. So we'll reball one chip, and then I'm gonna turn the cameras off. I'm gonna finish what I have to do on here. I'm gonna probably film just putting the one chip back on. There's no point in recording all four, because it'll be kind of boring. And this video is gonna get awfully long, so we want to avoid this. Let's put the stencil. I just cleaned up my stencil, nice and clean. Not the best stencil. I gotta get a better one, but it does the job for now. So we're gonna use it. So we gotta find the 4 right here. No, we're off. Okay. So what I got here is a Captain tape on the bottom of the chip. So you can see once the Captain tape is on here, I can easily put the chip on. Now a paper towel underneath for cushioning, and the chip moved a little bit. Let's see if I can fix it. Shoot. Okay, well, now this won't be good. I done goofed. Let's fix this one more time. So just give it a nice clean here. I'm not using chem wipes to clean the stencil because they leave residue. So I'm using an old microfiber cloth that I don't need it for anything. I got a whole box of these, or a whole bag of these, I should say. These are pretty good. They don't leave any residue behind, so I will have to do. I mean, sometimes I'll use a chem wipe dry just to clean it up, but usually I don't. Okay. Let's do this again. So we got 4 here. Okay, now it should be good. And I almost stabbed myself with an X-Acto knife. Wouldn't be the first time. Wouldn't be the first time. Okay, so the chip is underneath. Now we got the paper towel here. And believe me, the paper towel makes a huge difference when you reballing. And for main reason is because the cushioning underneath, it really helps the chip. So I'm going to use 130-degree paste because I want to use as little heat as possible on these chips. I already put heat to it when I was cleaning them, even though I tried not to. I'm pretty sure it's still fine, but now you want to minimize the heat you put through these memory chips. As I said earlier, they don't like it, and it's a good way to screw up a chip. I also have a mess here because I haven't cleaned up here in a week. So I can't find my little paddle to put the solder on. Alright, let's dig in here. Not this one. There we go. My little paddle. So normally I will dry out the paste a little bit if I'm doing smaller chips, but in this case there's no need. Just clean off here a little bit. Let's reball this guy here. That's way too much paste. Oh well. Here, this paste is getting pretty crappy. I've been using it for quite a while now. It's at least a year old. I'm gonna have to get rid of it soon. Get a new one. So I'm just pushing the paste into the holes here. It's almost like a science, it's almost like an art project, you know what I mean? Okay, we're gonna leave a little bit behind so we can push it further. Okay, we're almost done here. Okay. So I like using these ones here. These bent ones. And now, let's get it going. And we got some ball formation here. I'm going to release the pressure with my hand a little bit because there's just a little bit too much pressure here. And you see in the top left corner the balls are not forming. We're going to fix that later with some flux. Not the cheap stuff, we're going to use the good stuff for that. That usually helps. Could also be that the pads on the chips are not clean well enough. So what will happen is doesn't want to adhere to the pad. That should help it. You know, the thing about these this solder that I'm using, the 138-degree one, it stays liquid for much longer than any other solder, so you have to be careful when removing stencil, because I've done it before where I was sure that the stencil was, that the balls were solidified and they were not. And you see here how the solder has helped the flux helped the solder solidify in the top left corner. Let's just get them all flowing here nicely. And like I said, after this chip, I'm not going to film the other three, there's no need. I'm going to come back when I'm putting on the last chip on the SSD before testing. Hopefully I can finish this today because I got some phone calls to do today with lawyers and some other more pressing jobs than this, unfortunately, that I have to come first before this one. Okay. Now let's give it a second to solidify because it is definitely still liquid. Just checking. Okay. Looking good. So let's pull the tape off here. And I'm not going to reuse the same tape. I'm actually going to use different tape each time. Put that to my collection on the microscope. And let's push this guy out of here. Get out. And there we go. Now I gotta repeat the process. So clean the stencil, clean the chip, and then paste, heat, reball, and so on, three more times. Now I'm gonna put more flux on the chip. This is just to get a nice, beautiful balls. It's nothing better than nice, beautiful balls, you know, on the chip. Get your mind out of the gutter. Okay, let's reflow these balls here and then we're done with this chip. Of course, with obscene amount of flux as always. Nothing wrong with that. There we go. So I'm at 230 for this. This is pretty much perfect melting temperature for this paste. This is the paste, 138. My camera's gonna pick this up. There, my camera shutter speed is set pretty low, and my aperture is set pretty low to keep, not to blow out this scene here. So that's why you can't really see it. It's not set to automatic. I don't like automatic when I'm shooting here. But yeah, that chip is done. So I'm gonna turn the video off now. I'm gonna finish the other chips, and then I'm gonna come back when I'm putting on the last chip on the board. So hopefully today. If not, I'll be wearing a different shirt once again. Okay, I'm back. So this one on this side is finished. These two are over here. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, they're looking alright. So now we have the last one to put on. Let's put it in the device here. Let's put this chip on. And of course, off camera, I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing, and I put the chip backwards, so I had to remove it and reball it. Because that's what happens. So let's get this chip where it belongs. And good for those lines there on the board. I know exactly where to put the chip. So this time I did it right. Dot is in the right spot. So I'm not reballing the chip again like an idiot. Okay, so let's reheat this chip and get it on here. And find out that the SSD doesn't work. I know it's not gonna work. I'm pretty sure it's the media cache issue is not gonna be solved. I mean, there's a remote chance that it will, but probably not. So if the video ends somewhere here, then it probably didn't work after this chip. I'm not gonna record it not working. I'm just too lazy to move the camera all the way there and set it up and the audio and whatnot. Unless it does work. Well, in that case, I'm gonna do it. Look at the very bottom. If you see it's like a minute left or whatever, maybe 2 minutes left, then probably it didn't work. It might, but maybe I'll make an ending to it, but guess we'll find out. Let's just heat it here so it jumps into its spot. I was pretty pissed off when I put it the wrong way. I finished putting the chip on and I looked at the L and it was backwards. I was like, oh, are you kidding me? It happens. People make mistakes. As you can see, the chip was wiggling when you push it on it. So that's good. So I'll just give it a bit more heat here. Make sure all the balls are melted on the board. Put the balls on the board. That would do it. Okay, we're gonna let this thing cool down and we are going to test it. And I'm gonna find out that it doesn't work. And that might be it for this video. Excuse the mess here. So if it doesn't work, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. The last video of the year, which will be next week. Or maybe week after, I don't know. So it didn't work, unfortunately. I'm gonna attempt it again next week. I'm gonna reball the chips again, take them off, put them back on. The video's already filmed. I'm not gonna be waiting until next week for this video. So I'm gonna try it again. Here it is. So yeah, it's over here. Unfortunately, it didn't show up properly. So I'm gonna try one more time. You have to consider that there's 4 chips, right? So if there's 4 chips, the margin for error is now you have 4 times the error. So if one chip is not sitting right, then obviously it's not going to work. So yeah, thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe for more videos like this, and I'll see you in the next video.